In 2018, the United States imported roughly $540 billion worth of goods from China, while exporting only about $120 billion in return. That imbalance sparked tariffs, triggered political tension, and helped ignite the trade war that still shapes the global economy today. But while trade deficits dominate the headlines, another imbalance may matter far more in the long run: education. During the 2017 to 2018 academic year, more than 360,000 Chinese students studied in the United States. In contrast, fewer than 25,000 Americans went to China. On its own, that gap might not seem surprising. What is surprising is how quickly it emerged. Starting around 2007, the number of Chinese students in American universities skyrocketed. Over the following decade, they accounted for the vast majority of international student growth. Today, more students come from China than from the next several countries combined, even though India has a similar population size. So why did this happen so suddenly? And should the US be worried? To answer that, we have to look beyond academics and into economics, culture, and politics, starting with a single exam. Every year in early June, cities across China fall into an unusual silence. Traffic continues, but horns go quiet. Stress levels spike. Free water is distributed. Drones hover above. For 2 or sometimes 3 days, nearly 10 million students sit for the Gaokao, the national college entrance exam and arguably the most important test of their lives. The Gaokao determines who goes to college and, more importantly, which college. Top scorers gain access to elite institutions, including China's version of the Ivy League. Unlike American admission systems that consider essays, extracurriculars, and recommendations, Gaokao scores are the primary deciding factor. As a result, preparation begins early, often dominating the first 18 years of a student's life. Parents pray, burn incense, and book hotels near exam centers to avoid traffic. Some students study under extreme conditions. Others move provinces in search of slightly better odds. On exam days, governments enforce quiet streets and monitor for cheating from the sky. Supporters argue this system creates fairness, a meritocracy where anyone can rise through hard work. Critics argue the opposite, that wealth still wins, through private tutoring and better resources. Either way, the pressure is immense. And the results are mixed. Chinese students excel in math and science, but critics say the rigid system discourages creativity, critical thinking, and questioning authority. Classrooms are teacher-centered, memorization-heavy, and discipline-focused, sometimes to extreme degrees. For many families, this becomes a breaking point. Some parents look for an exit. If their child underperforms on key exams, enrolling them in international schools becomes a way to save face and create new opportunities. These schools prepare students for Western tests like the SAT, opening a path to overseas education. Others pursue foreign education for strategic reasons: migration, opportunity, or prestige. There's a widespread belief that while Chinese students face intense pressure before university, American students become serious during university. In many cases, it's parents, not students, who make the decision and pay the bill. And that bill is enormous. Families spend heavily on language classes, extracurriculars, exams, travel, and admissions consultants. Agencies often charge tens of thousands of dollars to guide families through the process. This is only possible because of China's rapidly growing middle class and a demographic reality. Many families have just one child, and one chance to get it right. The wealthiest families start even earlier, sending children to elite American middle and high schools. When conventional methods fail, some resort to donations or gifts that can reach into the millions. There's also a powerful historical reason behind this trend. When China opened up in the late 20th century, studying abroad became possible for the first time. Those early returnees often landed prestigious jobs and built influential careers. Over time, studying in America became synonymous with success, a belief that never faded. In China, elite universities are status symbols. For some, Harvard and Yale represent success just as much as luxury brands or expensive homes. That aspiration alone explains part of the surge, but not all of it. To understand the speed of this shift, we need to look at how American universities make money. Broadly speaking, U.S. universities rely on two financial models. Private institutions charge high tuition in exchange for prestige and exclusivity. Public universities, meanwhile, keep tuition lower by relying on state and federal funding. The problem is that government funding isn't guaranteed. During the 2008 financial crisis, tax revenues collapsed, and higher education budgets were slashed. States lost hundreds of billions in funding, and even a decade later, support had not fully recovered. Universities needed a replacement revenue stream, and they found it in international students. The system works quietly. Tuition is set high, then financial aid is generously distributed to domestic students. Most Americans receive some form of aid. International students, however, almost always pay full price. At many universities, international students generate roughly twice as much revenue as in-state residents. Some even complain of an unofficial international tax, where additional language requirements extend their time and cost of study. As more students return to China, many find the experience didn't deliver what they expected. While English skills and U.S. degrees still hold value, foreign graduates sometimes face disadvantages in China's job market. At the same time, many feel isolated in the U.S., clustered into limited housing and social circles. Political tensions add another layer. Concerns about espionage, visa delays, and scrutiny of Chinese student organizations have grown. Although outright bans never materialized, uncertainty alone has been enough to shift student preferences toward countries like Canada and Australia. Universities are acutely aware of this risk. Some have even taken out insurance policies in case Chinese enrollment suddenly drops. The U.S. should be thoughtful about foreign influence on campuses. Open academic environments can be exploited, but there is also real danger in equating a government with its people. Every year, Chinese students contribute billions of dollars to the American economy. More importantly, cultural exchange exposes students on both sides to ideas, values, and perspectives that counter propaganda and misunderstanding. America's universities remain one of its greatest soft power advantages. When international students return home, their perception of the U.S. often comes from these institutions alone. Restricting access may win short-term political battles. But welcoming students, while remaining vigilant, may be the best way to prevent future conflicts before they begin.